What is going on, guys? Alright, so I wanted to redo this video. I kind of was a little misleading in the first version of this. I didn't mean to be. I was being a little bit facetious, and I realized that's like a dumb thing to do. But anyways, I wanted to redo it and kind of showcase Maw of Mischief and why I think it's a really good idea as a league starter this league and something that you should consider. And I just want to point out that this is a level 100 character. Like, this is an end game character. For some reason, I said you can get all this gear in day one. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it essentially that you can get this, you can get online in day one. But to get it to this point, it's going to take you a little bit. It's not too crazy of gear. Remember, this is all SSF gear. This is in the SSF league. And this is all gear that I farmed myself and crafted myself. And in a trade environment, that's going to make it a lot easier as well. But all right, let me just showcase the build so you guys can kind of get an understanding of why I think it's really good. This is probably, I think, one of the strongest builds for Ultimatum. Just like Ignite Prolif is just so extremely strong in those type of mechanics, those like circle mechanics. You just kind of blow things up. And the difference with Maw of Mischief is you have like really big ignites, probably the biggest ignites that you can get in the game. You know, think about it as like a stronger DD. It's a little bit clumsier of a skill than DD, but it's not exactly like a 2-button build. And you can see here, you just kind of convocate your minions around you. You right click and then you blow them up. Now, a lot of the damage you're seeing here is from me blowing up my Herald of Purities, not necessarily my my stone golems. You can see like there's really nothing more satisfying than just like popping an entire pack with a dot, you know, like, yeah, it feels good. But yeah, a lot of the damage here you're seeing is me blowing up my Herald of Purities, because this is configured in a slightly different way where I'm utilizing both Herald of Purities and my stone golems. And you really just kind of just like kill bosses before you can even fully charge your Death Wish. Anyways, you just right click your minions, they blow up. Usually they are going to be where you want them to be. There are some times where they're not going to be where you want them to be, and you're going to have to just convocate them. So there might be some scenarios where it feels a little bit clunky. Essences are no problem. I mean, it's just like really big ignites that prolif, and it feels really good. In terms of gearing, you really just want to focus on plus levels and increasing your stone golem, which I have linked with my Herald of Purity. So in this configuration, I'm utilizing an Aegis, and I'm also utilizing the Skin of the Lords and just doing plus levels for Purity as well as my Stone Golem. So they're both benefiting from the Empower as well as the minion life support. For some reason, it's no longer block capped. I don't know what happened. This is a legacy character. It was block capped. So there will be some changes to this specific configuration in order to make it block capped, because that's one of your strongest defensive layers. You know, you have the Aegis here, so you're going to want to be blocking all the time. You're also going to want your energy shield. Yeah, you're not going to want to use Eldritch Battery in this configuration just because you want to utilize that defensive layer. And you can see here, you know, +1 dot multi scepter, +2 neck, EO, Skin of the Lords, minion life boots. This stuff is you're going to want to craft like your belt, your boots, your gloves. You're going to want to craft this as soon as possible. You're going to want to use a Barracks Respite in this build because you want that true proliferation. You don't want like regular proliferation where the enemy just dies and just stays there, and then other enemies that come into it. Yeah, actually, you might want that for something like Ultimatum. I like the Barracks Respite because it spreads your ignites, and that's how you can get those like big screen clearing pops. But that's really up to you. And this is the heart of the build here, the Maw of Mischief. This is what's going to enable the build, and you're gonna have to farm this in Cemetery, or I think Graveyard is no longer in the map thing, but there is another, maybe Grave Through might be the other one that you can use. One of those isn't in the map pool anymore, but Cemetery still is. So you just farm Cemeteries. It's a pretty common, unique. Might be a little bit. I don't really know how expensive this is on like a day one league start, but it shouldn't be too terrible. And then your tree is just all specking minion life. All you care about is minion life. Minion life, and block for this configuration. You want to grab this minion cluster here. You're going to want a cluster that gives you minion life, medium cluster. There's a few different things. So I have a POB that I'm going to be putting in the description. That is a different configuration that kind of travels over here and gets you a little bit of spell suppression, and you build into spell suppression and grace, and you're not going block. I will have the block version as well. I'm going to have a few different versions because there's a bunch of different ways you can actually build into this. I think one of the best versions for trade is probably just focusing on putting your stone golem as high as possible and getting like a true dot cap as quickly as possible, and then focusing the rest of your gear on just like buffing your stone golem, just because like your golems are gonna pop out relatively easy, and then your heralds are going to be doing enough damage on their own where you really don't need to be buffing them as much as I am buffing them here. Like 100k life Herald of Purity, even less than that, is enough to clear almost anything that's in your map. It's going to be giving you like 5 to 8 million dot DPS, and then your stone golems for those bigger enemies, for the bosses, you know, that should be doing dot cap, which is like 35 million dot. Yeah, there's going to be a few different configurations, but I did want to redo the video so I'm not misleading you. There will be a transitional period. Actually, I could just show you the POB. So this is the POB that I currently have. As you can see, we're diving over into the spell suppression area. Because this is a trade POB, we can use things like Primordial Mites, which I'm not using in this version that you're seeing. We can also use things like a good Watcher's Eye, a good Elegant Hubris, which is going to give us minion life, minion damage, max life. You're going to want stuff like that. You can use the Forbidden Flesh and Flame, which is going to give you Bone Barrier, which is 20% more minion life. So you're going to have a Stone Golem up to nearly 500k, which, as you can see, is a shitload of damage. You probably don't even need to bring it that high, to be honest. And then just to remind you, in the POB, when you're going through here, so say you want to look at the early 90 tree, and you want early gear, and you want early skills, right? You're going to be like, wow, that's a lot of damage. No, it's not. You want to make sure that you go over here, look at your minion stats. It's 161,000. You're going to want to put that here. So this configuration, you're looking at like 8 million DPS. And this is the level 90, like quick stuff where you're just getting a +1 dot multi-scepter, something that you would see with like an RF build. Life suppression res. You do want to try to get the exposure on hit enchant, no, not the enchant, but the eldritch thing for your gloves. Ignites deal faster. You're going to want that. So make sure you're focusing on those eldritch currencies so you can get those for your gloves and boots. You need to be farming minion essences. So think about essences, getting into 7th gate and farming essences, because that's where a lot of your gear, that's how you're going to craft a lot of your gear, is with these minions have increased life essences. And when you just roll that, get some life, get some res, and then craft on movement speed. You want a +1 dot multi amulet. You know, don't worry too much about the dot multi. Just get the plus levels to get those levels up for your stone golem. Life and res on your rings, your belt. Minion life, again, you're going to be using the essence for your belt here, and then you can get like extra, you get 12% increased minion life on your jewels. So be sure to be putting ghastly eye jewels on your filter, picking them up, identifying them, getting some good ones. They're relatively affordable in trade as well. So you're not switching to Maw of Mischief until you get the helmet and until you get this shield, Magnus Eclipsis, which you can just farm. You have to get the cold one and the fire one. You sell that to a vendor with, I think, like an Orb of Fusing, and then it's gonna give you back this item, and this gives you +2 to level of Socketed Gems. So you're gonna get these 2 items, probably a Barracks Respite as well, but you can go with the Ignite Prolif on the gloves. But I wouldn't do the build unless you have that. But you're going to be speccing from DD, so you're going to, a lot of the gear is going to transfer over, right? And then also an Empower you're going to want, which looks like it should be more common this league than in previous leagues, because you're going to be able to just farm it with lab. So I'm hoping that Empowers and Enlightens and Enhances are a lot more affordable, and then you can get them a lot quicker, because this is really going to increase the levels of your stone golem. So those are the 3-4 things that you are going to want to get before you actually swap to Maw of Mischief. I probably wouldn't swap before I have any of these things, just because your DD is going to be feeling better and doing better before that point. But once you have that stuff, then you're going to start making your swap in. You're going to start speccing golem nodes, right? You're going to start speccing minion life. You're going to, spec out of some of the stuff that might be left over from DD. All of this stuff you're going to want to start thinking about. And then you're going to start building into your later build, which is your 95 level build. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Still no clusters yet. I don't think you need clusters until you start moving into endgame and you really start wanting to scale with jewels. But that's something that we can work out over on stream. I'm also going to be streaming a POB version, like an actual league start leveling version with DD that can transfer into this pretty seamlessly. So if you're interested in that, check out my stream later. Just join the Discord and then you'll be updated in the Discord. So the later gear, +2 scepter with dot multi. Same thing as like an RF scepter. Remember, don't worry too much about the dot multi. It is good to have buy a fracture dot multi, try to roll +2. If you can't do that easily with a scepter, or you don't have the funds for scepter, do it with a rune dagger because it's a lot easier to craft that. But just think of it like the RF build and how you would scale that, or a fire trap build, or with a conviction build, how you would get a weapon for that. It's the same thing here. Your chest, you're going to want to start just getting suppression, res. You want to craft that. Physical is physical taken. Then you want to start getting your eldritch currencies. Your gloves, again, you're going to want to just get that fire dot multi roll on there. You're going to want to craft the minions deal extra damage because that's extra damage for you and your skill. We do like minion damage because it does help scale the build. On this one, now you can start using your deafening essences, the 30% increased life, getting those things. So here you can get a buff to your stone golems, and it's going to give you more life regen, which is not a bad idea if you don't really care for action speed. It's something to think about if you feel like you want a little bit more regen. +2 amulet with dot multi. Again, don't worry too much about the dot multi. All you care about more is the +2. And then you're going to want to get your, what is it called? Anoint on there. You can anoint dirty techniques, but that slot, the anoint slot, is really flexible. So you can do inveterate if you wanted to get spell suppression cap, right? You can just anoint that. You can anoint so many other things. You can anoint Ash Snowforge. You can anoint, what's the other one? This one here, Ash Frost and Storm. Like, these are really strong anoints. Something to think about. You don't have to. I like faster ignites. I think it just feels better. It's just like more satisfying. That's why I like dirty techniques. But it's a really flexible slot there. Your bone ring, again, you want minion life. So minions have increased life, and then life and res. That's all you care about. Life, res, and attributes are important. So think about attributes as well. You can get a lot of attributes from the tree. So you have 2 dexterity attributes spec'd here, just because it relieves a lot of the gear pressure. But, if you're starting to get some nice pieces of gear that have attribute rolls on it, then that's good. Your belt is like really important. You get a lot of minion life from your belt. Remember, you want to use those fertile catalysts to increase that from like 31 to 36. Life, res, minion life, same thing on your abyss jewels. And that's your that's what you're going to start to build into. Okay, you're going to start building that gear up, getting higher and higher. This is this level here is giving us 233,000. So we're looking at like an extremely high ignite already, and for the most part you're going to be pretty comfortable here, and you're going to be cruising, very easy bossing. It's going to feel really, really good. Oh, this is from they changed the stone golem gem, and I just added this to the custom modifiers. I think this is how you would do it. If anyone in the comments thinks it's different, let me know, but I think you would just put it in this way. Yeah, also another important thing, you want awakened gems, okay? Get your awakened gems at this stage as well. This would probably be my last upgrade, would be awakened gems. But then again, quality is pretty important. So, start thinking about getting awakened gems. You want to be leveling stone golems in your offhand. You want a 2120 stone golem, get that boosted up there. Now you want your Empower 4, 2120 minion life, 21 Herald of Purity. We are running Grace, Determination, Defiance banner. Don't worry, I know we're running it. I like tankiness too. And then everything else is good. Oh, you want to enhance as well. So think about getting it enhanced. It's probably one of your last upgrades, just because it's going to help your convocation speed, and it's going to keep your molten shell up a little bit longer, which is nice because of the skill effect duration. And then when we go to end game, our end game configuration here, this is where you're going to want that +1 corrupted. Okay, +1 corrupted. You can probably get like a +3 if you're really lucky. But you want to start corrupting Magna Eclipses. These sell pretty affordably, so don't worry too much about that. Plus, you can just buy the 1C shield and then, build it yourself and then corrupt those in temples. But yeah, you want the +1 there. This you definitely want like a good scepter, right? You definitely want the +2 with the dot multi. Your chest, I have it here as you want your minion life on there on your chest, so crafting that, hitting suppression with it, and then locking the suffixes down. Roll caster, that's going to give you an extra curse, and then hopefully you're lucky and you can hit a life roll, something like that. If you don't have life, you're kind of fucked. Maybe you can just craft life, I guess. But you do also like that fizz taken as fire. The gloves relatively stay the same. Same with the boots. You don't really need to change that. And then you want to spec into you want to buy a replica Dragon's Flight. So +3 to summon stone golems. This is also going to give you 10% increased reservation of skills. It's like 5 to 10% now, so I just lowered everything. If it's 5%, it's fine. I mean, you can see that I have the reserved mana is more than plenty. But yeah, this is where you're going to want replica Dragon's Fang, and that's going to give you an extra level and some reservation efficiency. Here you can get some corrupted ones. I didn't put that on here, and this is if you consider Barracks or Spite. Some people don't like running that. I like it though. Minion life on your ring, same thing with the belt, all the same stuff. But this is where a lot of your damage, your end game damage, is going to come from. Watcher's Eye, I would go for suppression with Grace, because that's going to put you almost at suppression cap. Not quite there, but almost there, enough where you can take like a good enchant like Spiritual Aid. And then if you can get a Grace, Malevolence, Watcher's Eye, hell yeah. I just have it here because this is endgame, right? I want to show like the best case scenario. This is where you're going to want clusters now. So on your cluster, you might think, let's get the best cluster with 3 things. No, you want Primordial Bond right here, because the other ones don't really give you that much value. So whatever you can do to get Primordial Bond there, that's what you want. This is what that cluster is going to look like. As you can see, it's like in a specific area, which is going to put it right here. Then you want your minion life medium clusters here. Blessed Rebirth, Hulking Corpses. This is a channeling. This is going to be a channeling cluster, so you can get endurance chargers while you're channeling, because Death Wish is a channeling skill. And then Vital Focus is going to give you a little bit extra regen. And then Primordial Mites are nice. They give you 22% increased maximum life, and they also make your golems aggressive, which means they seek out enemies faster. There's our Watcher's Eye. This is our bone barrier, Forbidden Flesh and Flame, which is really nice. And this is very important. Elegant Hubris is going to give you a lot of damage. There's some that give you 80% increased maximum life to your minions, increased damage, increased life. You want it, if you know how to do it, you know how to do it. The most important thing about this is Supreme Ostentation, because of all of like the stat requirements in this build, it's tough to get all those stat requirements without like a Mage Blood. It's tough to get all the stat requirements and all your res. So taking this really doesn't hurt you that much. Plus, you don't have to worry about stat requirements. That's going to save a lot of stuff on the tree, and it's going to relieve a lot of gear pressure. So I like this a lot. I like getting the Supreme Ostentation with the minion life nodes here. And I think that's pretty much it. You're going to take Shaper of Flames, of course, Convergence. You are getting Convergence because this build does hit. And you are inflicting exposure. This is kind of what the damage is going to look like at the end. You're, 400,000, 409. I mean, this is not even, this is like 30% more than what I have in my SSF. Again, you're at dot cap already, so it really doesn't matter. This is with Convergent on or off. You're just doing an insane amount of damage, and it just feels really, really good. So this is the POB. I'm going to put this in the description. Now, the actual league start from DD into this, I'm going to do it over on stream if you're interested in that. Yeah, I'm going to update it once I have it done, but you would just do a regular DD tree. People were saying like EA, should I go EA? I wouldn't do that. I would just go DD. It's fast, it's effective, we know how good it already is, and you're going to be taking a lot of the same nodes anyway, so that respec isn't going to hurt. And you're going to be having a lot of the same gear that's going to transfer over. So that's kind of how I'm going to build into that, is from a DD, like true DD league start. And like playing this again and building this again, I'm really considering league starting it. So it's something to think about. It's a great skill. It's super fun. It feels good. Just kind of blowing up minions is like a fun thing to do. So originally I just wanted to showcase what the build looked like and talk about why I think it's really good. I didn't want it to be like, I recommend you play this as a league starter and yada yada. I didn't really want it to feel like that, but it ended up being a little bit more misleading than I wanted to be. So that's why I took that original video down, and I was like, let me just give people like a real league start. This is why I would league start it. This is a POB. I do want to say that I am not, this is like new to me, making build guides and POBs. I don't consider, like, I don't want to be like the new guy, I care about new people type of player, right? That's not something that I'm really interested in. So this is really more for this content and this type of like the build guides that I would put out. They're more for people that kind of already know what they're doing a little bit. But don't be afraid. If you're new, I'll do my best to try to help you. It's just that don't expect me to be good at it, because I just don't really have that much of an interest in that. This is more for people that are like, they kind of already know what to do. They know how to like scale economy. They know how to like build quickly. They know what sort of atlas to get the best type of items for the build. And this is like me making a case for why I think this is a strong league start version for it, like an ultimatum style league, because I'm going to be playing a lot of ultimatum, and that's why I'm really considering playing this again. And I haven't played this in trade. I'm going to be starting in trade, so playing this in trade is going to be, it's going to feel good. So yeah, anyways, this is Maw of Mischief Death Wish. Let me know in the comments what you think, and don't forget to join the Discord if you have any questions. I'll just answer them there. All right, peace.